Hey, it's me, the guy who called out everyone's favorite Inferno teacher, got made fun of for having a cheesecake, and then disappeared for 2 years. Recently, it feels like I've seen a lot of discourse online about updates, future updates, and just where the state of the game as a whole is going. It seems like every day I see a new 5-paragraph essay from Lumbridge Larry 42069 about why they're quitting the game and why all the new content is bad. Sailing, Varlamore, the big red jello monster. Is this really what Jagex thinks we as a player base want? Well, to be honest, they don't make the game for just you, dude. Okay, so they do take your opinion and feedback into account when creating new content, but if I called this video, Jagex sometimes considers financial motivation over what the player base wants, then you wouldn't click on this video, so let me yap for a bit. How does Jagex make money? Well, according to them, they have 5 forms of revenue. There is subscription revenue. This is your membership, whether you're playing old school RuneScape or RuneScape 3. Microtransactions, this is bonds in old school RuneScape and whatever colorful shit you're buying in RuneScape 3. They have premium revenue. This is apparently revenue for other games they make. Number 4 is other revenue. This is things like RuneFest. They have a merch store that I've never heard or seen anyone buy anything from, but that one's cool, I guess. And then the 5th one is advertising revenue. It's 2025, so I think it's safe to assume that Jagex is probably running ads on their websites. I wouldn't know though because I use an ad block. I think what's most surprising about this filing is that Jagex actually made less money through microtransactions in 2022 than 2021. It's definitely the easiest way to make money in the video game industry in the past 5 years as long as you're following federal regulations. Thank you, Epic Games, for giving me my money back. This spreadsheet was created by Brienne of fucking Tarth on Reddit. Thank you, Brienne. I no longer have any ad revenue on this video. The one thing that I do want to point out in this spreadsheet is the subscriber count in 2014 versus the subscriber count in 2021. In 2014, there was a subscriber count of 1.773 million, and then in 2021, there was only 1.1 million. That leaves about 663,000 players that Jagex are no longer making money from. And hypothetically, if we were to do the math, let's say they're doing the 6-month $11.99 a month package. That's about $95 million that Jagex is no longer receiving. So when microtransactions are actually declining and there's $95 million that you can see but you can't touch, what's more important, making the player base happy or trying to bring in as many new accounts as possible to kind of reclaim some of that money? I think it's safe to say that's number 2. I could be wrong. If I am wrong, feel free to comment Sob Pop Soda Shop, more like Sob Pop Stupid Slop, and I won't get mad at you. But since Jagex needs to increase their player base, who actually wants to play this game? Who wants to play a game from 2014 that's a save state of a game from 2007? Kids nowadays want to do TikTok dances on Fortnite, so why would they want to play a game that takes thousands of hours to actually beat? Knowing this, it takes our target demographic from new players to figuring out why those 600,000 people quit and what can we do to bring them back. We've already gotten their money before, so what do we need to do to get their money again? Jagex really is just testing new updates and dangling them in front of your face, seeing what sticks and what's going to get you to pay money. Ooh, look, Varlamore finale. Ooh, cherry blossom skins. Ooh, new boots. Sailing. With that being said, it's important to figure out why people quit the game in the first place so that Jagex can figure out what they're going to do to fix those issues and bring them back. So, Jagex, I thought I would help you out, and I made a Watch Mojo top 5 reasons why people quit RuneScape. Number 1, people just get bored of the game. Number 2, I like to call these people content jumpers. These are people who they wait maybe 4 to 5 months, they subscribe for 1 month, and they do as much content as possible. I will touch on this later with Varlamore and how splitting Varlamore into 3 separate packages makes them more money than dropping it all at once. Number 3, Ironman Burnout. Corrupted Gauntlet, Dragon Warhammer, Blood Shards apparently. Ironman have a grind, they don't like the grind, and eventually they quit because they can't put up with the grind. Number 4. Hardcore Ironmen die, or Ultimate Ironman wipe and lose their bank. It's worth noting that most likely these accounts are alt accounts of people who are already playing, but to Jagex, they count as 2 people since they're paying 2 separate subscriptions. And then number 5, you get banned? Yeah, alright, I'll be honest. I got banned for real world trading. I was buying and selling gold. I did my time in the Jagex Slammer, and I'm being honest with you. It's called building trust with your audience. If you didn't write that previous comment, feel free to say Sobpop Soda Shop, more like Sobpop Swipe to shop for the best gear in the game. I haven't played in 2 years. And that makes me the prime demographic that Jagex is targeting. I used to give them money, something happened that makes me no longer give them my money, so what can they create that'll make me give them my money again? So I just kind of want to stand here and yap for a bit about Jagex updates and then the hidden motives behind them and how they're attempting to bring players back. Hey, remember that one quest you did when you were like 12? Well, this is what it would look like if it was created in 2007. Jagex basically has an endless supply of RuneScape 3 content that they can bring into old school RuneScape. Why would Jagex ever sit down and start from scratch designing some new storyline when they could just spin a wheel and pick whatever quest they want from RuneScape 3 and bring it over and people will eat that shit up? Defender of Varrock, Curse of Arav, Wild Gothic Sleeps, Araxor. All of these are RuneScape 3 content that were brought into old school RuneScape in just the past year. When you think about it, RuneScape has always been a heavily nostalgia based game. You most likely played this game 15-20 years ago when you were a kid and something brought you back because you wanted to relive your childhood memory, and now you're stuck because something has you addicted to it. With this in mind, it's kind of an easy win for Jagex to just pick something that RuneScape 3 players like and then build it in a 2007 setting because it requires less work, which means less employee wages, and vice versa. The Inferno and skilling minigames are 2 things I can think of that were created in old school RuneScape and were so well received that they actually made them into RuneScape 3 as well. There's this unique relationship between old school and RuneScape 3 where a piece of content can be backported, or I guess front ported, between the 2 games. Here's a list of content that was brought from RuneScape 3 to old school RuneScape, with the exception of silver jewelry was originally an old school idea. Have you ever seen anyone cancel their membership because tormented demons got added to RuneScape? No, of course not. If anything, they added a new Grandmaster quest that made people excited because they remembered doing it as a kid, playing into your nostalgia. Now that I said that, there's gonna be like 6 people in the comments that were like, I actually hate tormented demons and I quit the game because I couldn't believe they put in weaker demonic gorillas. What the fuck, Jagex? And even when things don't hit, like certain content hits, you still have Land of the Goblins or the Path of Fluffree, where you at least have some sort of story building, so they can either continue with the way RuneScape 3 took it, or they can put their own spin on it. The zombie axe. Do we really need this, guys? Like, we already have the cudgel, right? Okay, so if you're an Iron Man, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna rant for a bit. It is wild to me that in a genre of video games that is known for having infinite grinding because there's no true ending, that you would pick a game where the majority of the content is untradeable and you have to do the grinding yourself. You would then say, actually, I want to do 100% of the grinding myself, then complain that the grinds are too hard and expect the developers to make some grinds easier for you. Scar Essence Mine, God Wars Dungeon instances, the Dragon Warhammer needing a better drop rate, Mage Training Arenas too long, everything has to have a mini game now. But imagine you're 2,000 kills into your Dragon Warhammer grind and you've ran out of food, potions, and maybe arrows for your blowpipe. Hey yo, what the fuck? Now you have to stop what you're doing and spend a couple days, if not a week of your time resupplying, and that just sucks. There's definitely a subsection of Ironmen that quit the game because it's just too annoying to have to completely resupply and keep on top of stuff like fishing and ammo and whatnot. So apparently blood shards are part of this too annoying to grind problem now. I guess we now need a big jello monster to give us blood shards because killing NPCs and pickpocketing NPCs is too hard. I know it's a game jam idea, but I'm very surprised something like this exists. I think this puts Jagex in this weird situation where they want to help out the Ironman community and make some grinds easier, but they can't make the actual problematic ones easier because it's a spit in the face of Ironmen who have already done it. The Corrupted Gauntlet is the red prison for a reason. Imagine if they made the 400th kill a guaranteed drop, because that's the drop rate. Every person who went over 400 kills and eventually did get it is going to be pissed, and Jagex can't do that. Now, let's talk about rune crafting. Everybody hates rune crafting. There's probably 5% of the player base that actually enjoys rune crafting, so Jagex can go and say, hey, at this point in the game, you most likely have a lot of gold, and it sucks to have to go and make 20,000 blood runes. I feel that. So what if we created a thing where you give me gold, I give you blood runes? It's a good update. Everyone likes it, right? But it still makes the game easier for Ironmen, and someone is bound to come back because of that. I don't know who you are. If you're in the comments, let me know. Someone out there says, I hate rune crafting. It's annoying I have to get blood runes for my Sang staff and my scythe. I don't want to play this anymore. I'm just going to play on my main account. The easiest way to generate buzz and get the majority of your community talking and excited about the game is to actually release new content. Or maybe you could have a survey leak about how you want to put ads in the game and charge people for special privileges. What do you think about that one, Jagex? I'm not going to make a separate video about the whole survey drama. I'm kind of late to the game as this happened 2 weeks ago, and some people spawn camped that drama and had videos out within an hour. So I'm just going to give kind of like a quick minute-long summary / rant of how I feel about this whole thing. The survey was really bad. Wow, really brave to say. In reality, it broke the trust of the player base. I think if it came out as a newsletter instead of a private survey to certain individuals, it probably wouldn't have gotten as much backlash as it did. I think Jagex is really evil for locking premium support behind an extra paywall. We've been struggling when it comes to customer support forever, and in the filings I showed earlier, it actually shows that Jagex had a much higher customer support employee base back then versus what we do now, and we only have like 30 employees, which is ridiculous when a game has 115,000 people playing at any given time. I do think, to put it in a more positive note, there should be a mobile only subscription. Mobile players will not experience the game like people who play on their computer are, and they're definitely playing at a skill advantage. That being said, outside of a very small subset, most mobile players aren't doing the Inferno, they're not raiding, they're not doing the Coliseum, so why charge them the same? I think mobile membership should exist, but it should be something like $4 to $5 a month, if anything. Anyone in the recent days who have been saying that mod pips needs to be removed is not thinking critically. If mod pips were to be removed as CEO, they would most likely put someone in who's even more financially motivated and more willing to push microtransactions into the game. Also, I think this tinfoil theory that mod pips and the J mods knew that this would cause outrage is also kind of crazy. This isn't the Hollywood tabloids. This is not a any press is good press kind of situation. Jagex definitely took a financial hit from this. Okay, so new content is obviously the easiest way to bring in a player base increase, and honestly, Jagex has been kind of killing it lately. But whenever we say that, Jagex goes and does something like increase membership prices. So that being said, I don't know anyone who dislikes Varlamore besides the 4 people trying to be different in the comment section who are gonna say, I hated Varlamore and I quit because of it. I do want to point out that Jagex is strategic with how much new content they drop and when they drop it. It feels like they know how much content to drop to cause someone to renew their membership, and they probably do have some sort of study around that. Why did Varlamore need to come out in 3 separate parts when they could have just done small updates and then dropped Varlamore as one big one? one because 3 1-month memberships are bigger than maybe someone taking 2 months to complete all of Varlamore. They get an extra $10 a person, right? That's a lot of money when it adds up. I would say from personal experience that people who are burnt out do see things like sailing and Varlamore, and they get really exciting and refreshed. I burnt out because I tried to do I have 1 week of real life time to get a pet, and I played the game for probably 60 hours and burnt out really hard because I didn't get a pet. I've come back and I have not pet hunt whatsoever because there's so much new content that it's distracting me, and I don't even think about doing pet hunting anymore. You can replace the word pet hunting with whatever reason you burnt out, and it probably still makes sense. A new skill is coming to RuneScape whether you like it or not, and sailing seems new enough that it's going to draw in a big player base increase. People who are maxed are no longer maxed and have to max. There's the group of people that are going to race to get 200 mil all so that they're at the top of the leaderboard. People like ships and pirates, they now get to roleplay as a pirate or roleplay as a cargo ship. Level 3 skillers, and then just people who are bored, right? Like, I personally would have rather had shamanism, but I'm fine with any new skill, really. And I also want to point out, think about it. If sailing has had all this time put into it and all this money paying developers to make sailing, and then we said, no, we don't want that, Jagex has to recover that money. How are they going to recover that money if they don't put in sailing? $20 memberships. Okay, almost done with the video, I promise, but this final section, I just kind of want to give my opinion about some of the new things coming to the game. I think sailing's going to be fine. I think people who are overreacting to sailing just want something to complain about, and once sailing comes out, the next update they're going to complain about. I don't know how I feel about the boots. I think Jagex is creating a slippery slope with the boots, where by combining the 3 boots, you now have 1 boot to bring to everything you do, and it opens the possibility of a future where you have 1 set of gear for everything you do. On top of that, if we're already combining melee, ranged, and mage boots, we might as well put graceful in there. We might as well put devout boots. Like, fuck it. At this point, just take every single boot in the game and put it in the Avernic treads. It makes no sense not to. On the flip side, supporting Avernic treads, if you bring max combat gear, you now have an 8-way swap, so it makes inventory management a lot easier. That's really it about the Avernic trends. There's nothing else really positive about it. And finally, the best in slot mage cape upgrade. It's me from the future. I finally got around to editing this video, and Jagex has already made their decision about the best in slot mage cape discourse. Instead of a mage cape, they're now making it an upgrade to the occult necklace. This is good because the occult has been the strongest mage necklace for probably like 8 years now, and we haven't really seen any upgrade to it. That being said, it is a tradable component. You do need to have done level 3 of the new content to be able to actually wear it. That being said, I think this is good. There is the money making behind Delve, because when you actually get to the final level, you can get the component and then sell it. But then also, we're not balancing magic combat around a piece of gear that maybe a small amount of the player base actually can get. Yeah. That's really it. I hope there were some arguments in this video that helped you understand why Jagex does things the way they do. Or maybe this was the biggest nothing burger you've ever watched, and I'm sorry for wasting your time. See you guys in 2026 when I upload my 3rd rant video to this channel. Maybe this time I'm going after the Mr. Beastification of old school RuneScape content. I'm really tired of your locked Ironman to a specific offshoot of content that I don't give 2 shits about until you started making videos. I don't care. Goodbye.